Hello everyone, and welcome to News from Nowhere. My name is Michael Lanteri.
And I'm Madeline Tobin.
Recently our news team has made an interesting discovery. We have uncovered an actual time machine.
There's a catch though. The time machine can only be used 5 times. After careful deliberation, we've chosen what we think are the 5 most important events in United States history. Today we will broadcast live as we go back to visit each of them.
The first event we chose may be the most crucial event in American history. Without it, there would be no United States.
We now go to July 4th, 1776 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Congress is declaring independence from Britain.
I'm here live at the signing of the Declaration of Independence with John Hancock, the first one to sign. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions, sir?
Not at all.
Okay, could you tell me how it feels to be the first one to sign the Declaration?
Well, it feels great. We're finally declaring our independence from Britain. We can now be our own country.
Can you tell me why it's so important to become independent?
Because we're tired of always being told what to do and have to pay so many taxes, such as on sugar, newspapers, wills, playing cards, and tea. It really gets old after a while.
When do you think Congress will adopt this declaration?
Well, we're hoping Congress will adopt it sometime in July this year. Jefferson really did a great job writing this for us. We can't thank him enough.
Okay, could you tell me why your signature is so large?
Oh, because I want King George to read it without his glasses so we can fully understand how sure I am about declaring our independence.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
You're quite welcome.
Oh, here comes Benjamin Franklin. Could I have a word, sir?
Why, of course.
Okay, could you tell me what the Declaration looks like?
It has 4 main parts: a preamble, 2 sections that list the rights we believe we should have, and a section that proclaims the existence of our new nation.
And where do you think Jefferson got his ideas?
I believe he got his ideas from John Locke, an English philosopher who argued for freedom. Locke wrote about how people are born with the rights of life, property, and liberty, which needs to be protected by a government. Any government that interferes with these needs to be overthrown.
And how do you feel about the signing, sir?
I feel excited and determined about gaining independence once and for all. It's amazing we followed through with this. Pardon me, I must be off. Still have much planning to do.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to know all the facts from the people who are involved. So there you have it. Back to the studio.
How fascinating.
No kidding. Before we go to our next event, here's a word from our sponsors.
Do your hands get cold? Do they ache with pain from too much waving? Have you lost your peppy cheerleader spark? Then you need Pirate Pom-Poms. Pirate Pom-Poms are the perfect accessory for every cheerleader. With hand-warming technology and built-in hand massages, your hands will never feel discomfort, I guarantee. Order now, call 1-800-POM-POMS. Available in green. Must be 7 in order to order.
Our next event is the signing of the 13th Amendment. This amendment banned slavery from the states and was a giant step for America. Slavery had been a big issue until it was finally banned on December 6, 1865.
Now we go live to Washington, D.C., where the 13th Amendment was added to the Constitution.
Thank you. I am now joined by President Lincoln and Representative from Ohio, James Mitchell Ashley, to talk about the signing of the 13th Amendment in front of the Capitol building, Lincoln's office. We are waiting now to see if the 13th Amendment will be signed by Congress. Now, Lincoln, explain the Emancipation Proclamation.
I announced the Emancipation Proclamation as a war tactic to use against the South 2 years ago in the Civil War. And it wasn't supposed to completely get rid of slavery.
I see. So the Emancipation Proclamation was just a beginning.
Correct.
Now your goal is to abolish slavery with the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, correct?
Yes, ma'am. But in the beginning, I didn't mean to completely abolish slavery. But after I was elected for a second term, I decided that the people wanted to get rid of slavery.
James, how are you involved with this?
Well, ma'am, I was the first to introduce the bill. Before Representatives Mr. Wilson and Mr. Henderson, competing bills were combined with mine to make one strong bill.
I see. With the Senate already passing the bill, are you concerned that the House of Reps will nullify the bill?
I am a little concerned, but not completely. I have visited the House of Reps and explained the bill after they rejected it 2 months ago.
How about you, James?
I completely agree with Lincoln. Now that House of Reps understand the bill, I have full confidence that it will be passed.
Hello? Okay, I've just received news that the bill has been passed. What do you guys have to say?
It's a relief that the bill is passed. It's amazing to think that we've come this far.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our union will become a much better place now.
Well, thank you for your time. And now back to the studio.
Thanks, guys. We now have another commercial break.
Be right back.
Do you feel like the loser in your group of Pat and Zach? Are you losing energy during your sport? Then you need Higher Powerade. Higher Powerade gives you long-lasting energy to help you perform.
Hey, Ben.
The third event we have decided to travel back to is the bombing of Pearl Harbor. This event occurred on December 7th in 1941 and was when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii.
We will now go back to this tragic event in history.
Excuse me. May I interview you real quick?
Sure, why not?
So, where exactly are we at here?
We're in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii.
What do you do here?
This is the main base for the Pacific Fleet.
Oh, really? So, don't you worry about, like, the Japanese? Won't they attack here?
You really think they're going to attack the largest fleet in the Pacific? I mean, no way.
So, why are there so many men and ships here, then?
The general thinks that there's going to be some big attack, and I doubt it.
What are those?
Check. Hello? Yes, why are there planes on my radar screen? Okay. It's probably just some shipment from California.
I'm currently in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii during this attack. Who is attacking us, Colonel?
Well, as you can see, the red dots underneath the plane wings is probably the Japanese.
Why are the Japanese attacking us?
Well, this is the most secure base in the Pacific with the most ships and the most planes, so they're probably going to want to attack us before we attack them.
Why didn't the general know about this?
The general didn't know about this, and neither did the rest of us. We thought this would be a shipment from California, but they just used a surprise attack on us.
So weren't there, like, enough, don't you guys have enough planes and ships and men to defend yourself?
Well, we did, but the Japanese took out about...
What was that?
Must have been a bomb. I thought we'd have more time before they attack us.
Why did you think that? Well,
They're supposed to attack Wake Island, and the Japanese haven't even declared war on us yet.
Did you see how many ships are hit?
Well, 1 second. Looks like about 3 of them have been hit, 3 of the major ones anyway. And looks like the Arizona is sinking as well.
What is the Arizona?
It's only the largest ship here.
What about the other ships?
They're not quite as big, they're just small battleships.
What about the aircraft carriers?
I mean, luckily they were in training practice today, so hopefully they should be able to help a little bit.
I doubt it. Look at all these planes.
Yes, but that means they can attack the Japanese carriers.
But how do they know we're under attack? The radio station got blown up.
Well, I guess they don't, but I don't know.
I'm reporting live from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, where the Japanese have just now attacked.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Now it's time for another advertisement.
You sitting there at
fast, what, mess, all different one for what? Now listen. Soon you'll see eye to eye, its name is pi. Has areas, perimeters, and more. Hold up, don't walk out that door. You're learning, making sense yet. With this poster you won't ever forget. Pi is incredibly long. Leave it 1 for 1596. Wait, that's wrong. In between the 9 and 6, there were lots of 2. There, now it's fixed. No more messing up, no more slip-ups. Every question says in pi. Now nothing will go awry. It's time for me to bounce because you know your stuff now. Ciao.
Our next event takes us back to August 6, 1945 in Hiroshima, Japan, where the United States dropped a bomb on the island of Hiroshima near the end of World War II.
One of our time travelers has an exclusive interview with President Truman.
We are here with President Truman speaking on behalf of the United States government. Harry, many people believe that the U.S. only dropped the bomb to end the war. Is this true?
No, this is false. Why fight fire with fire? We do this for many reasons, but mainly to intimidate them.
Intimidate who exactly?
President Stalin and the Japanese people. We have tried to reason with them, but they have been convincing their people that the longer this goes on, more is going to be got from it. But it would not happen like that. We tried reasoning with them. Something had to happen before it got worse.
You realize that you have just killed thousands of unsuspecting men, women, and children. And not only that, but families near the blast will have lasting conditions.
This was our last resort without making the war worse. I realized there was no right answer, and this is the absolute last thing I would ever want to do to these people.
Was there any alternative?
The only other step we could have taken would be to invade Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But if we had invaded them, it would have possibly resulted in 6,000 American troops dying and perhaps 1 million Japanese being killed. Another option was to blockade Japan and starve them to death. But you can't starve people who are already starving.
Were there any other Allied countries influencing you at your time of your decision to drop the bomb?
Well, tension was beginning to build in Europe between the Soviet Union and the Western Allies. The Russians were also preparing to invade Japan.
What about the morning after the plane took off and there was no going back on your decision? Was there anything that went wrong? Any complications on the plane?
Surprisingly, everything went smoothly and according to plan. The biggest thing that we were concerned about was the bomb. This was a uranium-235 bomb that had not been tested. The one that they had tested was plutonium in New Mexico. It took approximately 45 seconds from the time we dropped it for it to go off.
I heard a quote, "Few people cried, but most were silent." How did you feel when the bomb detonated?
At first I was happy that it worked. We had been in a long war and I was finally going to end. But I would never be able to comprehend the reality of what we did.
I'm truly sorry. Do you think that the Japanese will ever be able to forgive us?
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. They suffered a tremendous amount. But whether they are willing to accept it or not, dropping the atomic bomb saved their lives and our lives, like I said earlier.
If you could go back in time, would you do it again?
Given the circumstances were the same, I'm afraid I would have no choice but to.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That would be all.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Truman.
Yes.
What a truly horrific event in history. Now another word from our sponsors.
Are you tired of sitting in uncomfortable desks or on hard bleachers all day? Well, then you need the Pirate Pillow. The Pirate Pillow is affordable and comfortable, and it'll make your seating better. You gotta buy it.
Our last event is one of the most dreadful events in American history. On September 11, 2001, 2 planes were hijacked by terrorists and flown into the Twin Towers in New York City.
Another hijacked plane was flown into the Pentagon in Virginia. 3,000 Americans were killed in the attacks. Here's more information on this tragic day.
There's smoke everywhere. I have no idea what's going on.
Haven't you heard? A plane crashed into the World Trade Center. Some people are saying it's a terrorist attack.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Well, is that a second plane?
Going back to the scene at downtown Manhattan. Of course, they just saw that a large passenger plane has crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. It's 9 a.m. and I'm here with the captain of the New York Fire Department. Mass panic has occurred. How does the team plan to deal with the situation?
All we know is that we have to get to the scene quick. And that we have multiple teams across the state, even from New Jersey, headed to the scene.
Things sound crazy. How are you going to keep the crew safe?
All we are concerned about is the lives of those in the attack that we can save. These are brave men and women willing to risk it all.
How many do you think you'll be able to save?
Because we have not been able to determine how many people have been in the accident, we are not quite sure. We'll do our very best.
Excuse me, we have just heard word that a second plane has crashed.
Crew, let's move! Come on, guys!
It's about 9 a.m. and I'm here downtown just blocks from the disaster. The city is in utter chaos. I'm joined with Ashley, a woman who witnessed the crash from her 12th floor apartment. Ashley, can you describe to me what you saw this morning?
Well, I was sitting at my breakfast table. It was just like a normal morning with my roommate, and I was getting up to get into the shower. And all of a sudden, there's this sound. It's like ear piercing. I thought it was a meteor or something. I looked up, and there was this plane, and I see it crash into the North Tower.
Wow, what were your first thoughts?
Well, I mean, I looked at my roommate, and both of our jaws just dropped, and then flames shot up everywhere. And people were running around in the streets like ants. I mean, crazy. I mean, I guess we kind of assumed that it was just a disaster, an accident, you know, but terrorism was in the back of our minds, and we were just shocked.
And for the second flight, American Airlines Flight 175, did you see it hit?
We did. I mean, we didn't fully understand the reality until the second plane hit, but we thought terrorism, I mean, just like we said before, but until it was actually in the building, it was reality. It was just like when the first plane hit, but it was absolutely more terrifying.
Thank you for your time. We hope you and your roommate stay safe. More is becoming known about these two flights. The first flight to hit was Flight 11 to the North Tower. Now we know that this flight was supposed to be headed to Los Angeles and that it departed at 7:59 a.m. As for the passengers, and this has not yet been confirmed, but it appears that there are no survivors, and who knows how many people were hurt in that building. As for the second flight, American Airlines Flight 175, there are not many answers. We know that it too was also headed to Los Angeles and departed at 8:45 a.m. and then was taken over and crashed into the South Tower. Thank you for watching. I'm Sydney Waworka.
Thank you. 9/11 was a terrible event that should always be remembered.
Now for one last commercial break.
You know there's a better, more quieter, delicious candy out there.
They can't be as good as the Snickers.
Oh yes it can, the Pirate Pets.
These are really cool. And they're really good too.
Aren't they?
You can find Pirate Pez at your local retail store or at piratepez.com.
Thank you for all watching our news broadcast, News from Nowhere.
We hope you enjoyed the show and realized the importance of these events and how they impact us in the present and how they will affect our future.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
Emancipation Proclamation.
I know some.
Oh my gosh.
Just keep going. It's okay.
Emancipation.
What? You guys are terrible. I'm sorry. I just freaked out for a while.
That wasn't you that time. Good job.
I haven't said a thing.
Yes, you
We have
have.
to go do your hacky sack commercial.
Back. No, I'm not going because I can't hack.
You can better than me.
Shut up, Keaton. I'm blaming you because you haven't been blamed yet.
Okay, we've been recording this whole time, so just go.
Oh, I have been. You're right.
Can you tell me when Congress adopted this declaration?
July 4th, 1776. Jefferson did a great job writing. This doesn't make any sense.
What?
If they're adopting the declaration and I'm signing it, and we already know the date it was adopted.
Yeah, it's just
No.
President Stalin.
And the Japanese people?
Well, it's when I say it right.
Come on, tried to reason
When I say it right, it
Have you
feels.
tried to reason with them?
When I say it right, it
Have you
feels wrong.
convinced
When I say it wrong, it feels right.
Okay, just Stalin. Say Stalin.
Now it's like Stalin.
Understandable. I have full.
Keep going.
Keep going.
I have full confidence that will be passed.
Is that you have just killed many unsuspecting men, women, and
So
children.
psyched. I'm sorry.
Mr. Wilson.
Why'd you say Wilson?
Shoot, Mr. Wilson.
Don't delete that video, that'd be a good video.
Okay.
No one wants to see your face, Levi.
Facts from the very people who were involved in this.
That'll be our own country. Hopefully the bill or the.
Pardon me. Okay, we can edit that.
We're fine. We do this for many reasons, but mainly to intimidate you. I did it right, and you. Gosh, Caitlin.
I'm here live at the sign of
So King George can read it, of course, without his glasses.
Well, thank you for
President Stalin and the Japanese people. We have tried to reason with.
You can't pronounce the name.
I said Stalin.
Yeah.
When you think
We'll just like.
And for the second flight, American Airlines Flight 175, did you see it hit?
I did. Me and my airplane.
Me and my airplane. We're having a jolly old.
Because we're tired of being told what to do and having to pay so many taxes.
Levi,